All right, so hey man, so this is a special edition of the Prison Wallets podcast where, we do commentaries, we tell you what version of the movie you've got. I'm Keith, this is Ray, by the way. And, if you want, you can put in your version of the movie and play it along with us. But today, we have an unopened copy of Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, originally $8.99, and I got it for a mere $2. So what you're going to hear is the sound of a virgin cassette tape being unwrapped, placed into the VCR.
You almost forgot what that was called.
It's been a long time. Placed into the VCR as though it were an unsheathed cock into a vagina. And, and yeah, we're just going to watch whatever's on this, whatever fucking, trailers and stuff. So if you happen to have the Anchor Bay VHS copy of Halloween 5, you can watch along with us. Of course you don't, so I'll tell you when the real movie starts too, if you want to press play at that point. And of course, as always, you can just listen to this as a normal podcast. So okay, here it is. Here's the sound. This is like, what's that shit? ASMR? Where it's like pleasant sounds. Okay, I'm going to shut up. We're just going to have the sound of opening a brand new Halloween 5. Oh. There's the shrink wrap. Oh, look at how beautiful it is. I'm getting fingerprints all over it, but it's so...
Man, that's nice.
Oh my God. All right, it's going to slide out. Here we go. Oh, you remember that sound? Comes with nothing. Nothing in here.
Just the tape in the box.
Approximately 97 minutes. Man, 1989, good year. All right, now let's get this into the VCR fucking... It's just... Oh, here we go. Oh, this is the sound. An autoplay. Remember how old VCRs didn't do that shit? All right, so there. I hope you've also inserted your VHS copy of Halloween 5. Now the commentary begins. FBI warning. We're also going to switch over to our actual good sound quality now.
Is it plugged in?
There we go. Yeah, we're all good to go. We're in the studio now.
All right. FBI warning, Anchor Bay. Anchor Bay had and still does have the rights to most of the Halloween movies, with the exception of the Rob Zombie ones, I believe, because eventually Miramax got a hold of them as well for a while.
Oh, this film has been modified from its original version. I used to never know what that meant. So I guess, oh man, there is nothing on this. We're right into the movie. So Donald Pleasance Inn, if you're trying to queue up. I'll tell you when the... Halloween 5, so that's the queue up spot in case you want to watch along with us.
Donald Pleasance, who played Sam Loomis. Just hold this for a sec, will you?
Oh yeah, I'm fucking having some microphone issues. Oh yeah, counterweight. Forgot about that.
Okay.
So I guess I've got... Oh shit, what's going on here? Oh, it's because I'm sitting on this cord. We're so professional. We're becoming experts at this. So, I guess I got, general Halloween-related questions and stuff. But, we're in no hurry. We got a whole commentary, right? We'll get to them. But
yeah, as far as this goes, we're just going to sort of have the movie on in the background and kind of just talk about it and maybe a little bit of the behind-the-scenes crap or whatever.
So, I guess, this specific VHS tape. So, with our episode about VHS collecting... which is in our archives if you want to go back, and it's a fan favorite. I've had 2 people say they like that episode. That counts as a fan favorite. Basically that Ray started getting into VHS and just it's just cool to have VHS of movies that you like. So I was at a store and I saw a bunch of random VHS. Well, that's what we learned too, right? Because when we did our Crow commentary and we're talking about how beautiful it is on Blu-ray, then we were like, let's just toss in the VHS after we recorded. Let's just take a look. And when you see Blu-ray versus VHS, it's like, holy shit, this VHS looks like dog shit. So it's maybe not so great for beautiful films, but I still love it for horror movies because I want a horror movie to look kind of bad and gritty. It makes it scarier and reminds me of the 80s.
Yeah, just watching this alone, the opening scene where there's a knife going in and out of a pumpkin to carve it. It didn't look terrible.
Yeah, and to me, this is just what a horror movie is. This is just so burned into my mind of being a kid.
He gets chucked off the hood, but he's still holding that fucking knife.
Yeah. So I bought these random ass horror movies, and Amityville 2 and Halloween 5. I'm just like, whatever, give them all to me. And then Ray was like, oh, Halloween 5, that one's good. We should do that one. And I was surprised. I didn't expect Halloween 5 to get the thumbs up. I just assumed by the 5th one these movies were shitty. But then I'm like, all right, well, let me check this out. I went and stole a copy. Since we obviously just opened the VHS, I didn't watch that. So I just downloaded a copy, and I was like, yeah, this movie is kind of good. This is like, I'm surprised how much cool shit is in this movie.
No, honestly, the one I hated the most when I was a kid was the third one, because Michael Myers wasn't in it. And, I was a young cinephile wannabe, so where Michael Myers wasn't in it, I didn't consider it an actual Halloween movie with Michael Myers, because it didn't have Michael Myers. But now I like the first 5 movies, and the 6th one, there's 2 versions of that. There's the theatrical one and the producer's cut, which was like hidden. You could only get it if you pirated it, and it was like really low res copy. But now I have that on Blu-ray, the producer's cut. So it's way better than what it was. But either way, it's still not that great.
And then 7 is when they started over, right? Like H2O?
They didn't really start over. It's still a continuation. But yeah, 7 was good. 8 was awful. And as much as people shit on the Rob Zombie ones, I actually really like them for what they are.
So with this in particular, this movie, right off the bat, it starts where part 4 left off, more or less. So like right away, watching this, I'm like, I think I got to go back and watch some Halloween 4, because like, yeah, they are just like, hey, remember the last movie? You better, because here we go. And it was a little interesting. Like, it's cool that it connects, but it was, I don't know, it was kind of, there was no good way around this. As I went back to 4, and this scene does happen where they've all got Jason, sorry. They've all got Michael fucking cornered. But this wasn't the end of 4. Then 4 ended. So the girl in this movie, who is
Jamie Lloyd.
Yeah, who's the daughter of the chick from the first one, right?
Laurie Strode.
Yeah, there you go. I got a lot of holes in my Halloween knowledge. So basically, I went back to 4 because I'm like, who is this girl? They really don't set it up at all in this one. They're like, just here, let's just keep rolling. So they had this extra scene at the end of 4 after this happens, and it seems like Michael's been taken care of, where the girl basically kills her stepmom, and it's highly insinuated that some kind of spirit of murder has entered the little kid. And that was kind of cool, but I can see why they decided to retcon that, because how do you really do that? How do you make this sequel about the little girl killing everybody? It's not very well planned.
Well, there was a strange mythology that came about, and you really see it at the end of this movie. You see the Mark of Thorn, which is like this weird cult that Michael Myers is like a deity of some sort. And, so it's like an underground society, and they praise him, and they bring him sacrifices, and all of that crazy fucking nonsense. So they kind of assume that his bloodline would all have that sort of thing, and he's to be the last of it, and he can't be pure or something like that until all of his family is fucking toast. So, he went after Laurie Strode, he went after, what's her name, whose name we just mentioned, Jamie Lloyd, who is Laurie Strode's daughter, and so on and so forth.
I guess they're kind of referencing it right here, because this was that scene at the end of 4, so I guess they're kind of trying to recontextualize it as that didn't really happen. This is more like a crazy nightmare that this kid had now that she's having these post-traumatic stress problems a year later. I think they did a pretty good job of because I could see how it could have gone that way with the bloodline and the spirit of evil. But I love what they did instead in this movie. I really like this thing of this mute kid who can't really explain what she's feeling, but she has this weird connection to the killer. Like, she has these premonitions about where he's going to be and who he's going to hurt, but she can't explain it. I love this idea. It's such a cool setup.
There's sort of 3 different timelines for Halloween, and explaining them is, a little bit difficult. Right. So basically the way it kind of works is you take 3 out of the equation altogether.
Right.
You've got...
Well, even 'cause the only one I think I saw out of these first batch was the first one, and it's been a long time. But in the first original Halloween, Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't even necessarily Michael's sister, right? Like there was no mention of that.
And that's where this timeline thing comes into play. So in the timeline that we're currently following, you've got the first movie, most of the second one, and then this new one that was made 40 years after the original one. So you just omit the parts where they say that Michael Myers is Laurie Strode's brother and he's trying to kill the family or whatever. So you've got basically the first and then jump ahead 40 years. And then you've got this other timeline where it's the first one, the second one, and then you've got 4 and 5. So those 4 movies are one timeline. And then you've got this other timeline, which is basically meant to be in a trash can.
Right.
Because it just doesn't make any sense at all.
And isn't there, I mean, there's another remake too that just came out, right? I mean, it'll be a little old by the time this podcast comes out, but...
No, it's not a remake. I forgot about the Rob Zombie ones as well.
Right.
The Rob Zombie ones...
So they're doing their own thing as well.
They're just their own thing.
Right.
2 movies. So the first one and then this new one that happened 40 years later, it's actually set 40 years after the original movie. So all the shit Michael Myers did in the first one, trying to kill Laurie Strode and whatever, and then you pan 40 years later to where she has PTSD, lives in constant fear that he's going to get out because he didn't die, he was in an asylum, whatever. So he's in an asylum and these crazy fucking reporters come and are trying to get something out of him, like, why did you do this shit 40 years ago? And they have the mask or whatever. And then eventually they're transferring him from one hospital to a different hospital. And I guess what happens is the bus he's in or the van he's in crashes and he escapes and havoc ensues.
That is one thing I like about these like longer running franchises too, is I like that they're they just are kind of scrambling in some ways to keep it going and to come up with new angles and new ways to do it. And it's never all good. There's always those weird branches that you're like, who the fuck thought that was a good idea? Sending everyone to space and shit, But I love that they just it's like weirdly creative. It's like, how do we keep this going?
Well, and I mentioned before in one of our other episodes about Blumhouse being right now the best company in terms of who's churning out good original horror movies. And they got a hold of the Halloween franchise to make this new movie that just hit theaters this weekend. And from all accounts that I'm hearing, they knocked it clear out of the fucking park. Like, it's apparently amazing. Like, it's made like $80 million so far.
Yeah, we should say, yeah, we're banking some podcasts ahead of time. So as of this recording, we haven't seen it yet, but you'll be from the future, kind listeners, that you've already seen it. So hey, fuck you, you fucking think
Bastards.
You're so cool.
Think you're better than us?
But I love that too, about that idea, because this movie plays on it a lot too, of the sort of PTSD idea of it, because it's so hard to keep. We're so familiar now with film techniques and it's hard to make an audience scared. I heard somebody reviewing the original Halloween and they're saying how interesting it is to watch it now because it was so scary in the 70s, but now it's almost comforting because all of these beats and all of these film techniques and stuff. But the idea of the post-traumatic aspect isn't something that they deal with a ton. And I love it. I think that's one reason I like this movie so much. You got the double whammy of it's a little kid, just extra helpless and extra, susceptible to death. Also dealing with all this horrible shit that happened to her, so much so that she can't even talk. So my little story, it's nothing even close to a fucking dude in a mask murdering everyone I know. It was in the mid 2000s. I got pepper sprayed in Vancouver and my fucking laptop got stolen. And, just from that, it was these 2 Asian kids, because I was in fucking Vancouver, so of course, just every punk is an Asian. And he had, they weren't, cool, they weren't scary at all, they were shorter than me, they had, that Yu-Gi-Oh hair that was cool at the time, where it's your bangs are blonde and the rest of your hair isn't. These kids were not tough, but and I wasn't even that bothered by it. I'm like, wow, I can't fucking believe that happened. Holy shit, I just got, fucking bear maced in the face and they took my laptop. But then, like, that's where the PTSD thing is so interesting to me, because I thought it was no big deal. I'm like, whatever, that sucked, whatever. But then for like the next like 2 weeks, I kept looking over my shoulder all the time. Like whenever I was in that neighborhood, I'm like, I was like, this is the weirdest feeling. Like, I'm scared. This is fucked up. So yeah, so the idea of what would happen to these people after these fucking movies, I think that's such a good vein to examine.
More important to the PTSD for you would be the aftermath of being bear maced, and you touched your own junk with the bear mace.
It was real bad because it's like bear spray, because it's fucking the Pacific Northwest. It's like 10 times worse than normal mace. And like I couldn't open my eyes. The police had to like escort me home, but they wouldn't. So they had this squirt bottle. It was just like basically a squirt bottle with 2 nozzles that they just squirted in my eyes for like 20 minutes till I could at least open my eyes. But they wouldn't let me in their cop car because they're like, is it okay if you just walk and we accompany you on the street? Because like if you get in this car, like you're covered in this shit. It's never going to come out. I was like, that's all right. I understand. And yeah, what I didn't expect, it was a two-pronged problem, is hot water reactivated the burning. So I had to take a cold shower. So I was just shivering and dying. And then the it's just basically like pepper, spicy shit, whatever, would just slowly go from my face, like down my body. And I just kept washing until it would just slowly go down and go down. But also what I didn't know is that the skin in the palms of your hands and your genitals, it's like extra, the pores are more susceptible. And my hands started burning like they were on fire. And then my dick started burning like a lot. Like real bad. I actually got it. It's on my Facebook page.
Your dick?
Yeah. No, I was in the little free newspaper where, and one of my friends kept it and sent me the picture of it like 10 years later. Just like, area man was bear sprayed and robbed at this street and that street. And I'm like, oh, that's me. I'm in the paper. Holy shit. So don't walk around with your laptop at night. Like, that's just like, I'm just such a, like, that's one of those things when you walk around as a guy, you just don't feel intimidated by the world, you know? Like, I remember I was dating this girl and I was like, hey, let's just walk through this fucking dark, unlit park. And she's like, can we not? And I was like, what do you mean? Oh, because you could get raped. Of course. Like, it honestly never occurred to me. I'm just never scared anywhere that I go. But the problem with that is, you should be sometimes. You should be mindful when it's 3 a.m. Don't walk around with your laptop. You know, I blame myself.
You can see right through that shower curtain.
So that was Keith's story time. Yeah, so I actually really like that shot. Like, they do a really kind of like tasteful job or whatever here of just insinuating that this is a hot ass chick, but there's no actual nudity. It's just, through the shower curtain and the fucking... Oh, and then, this is the part where Michael starts fucking harassing her, and they're like, we've had a psychic premonition from the kid. Get out of the house. And she has to get out of the house in her towel. Classic Benny Hill situation right here. You could turn the Halloween franchise into a titty sex comedy so easy.
By the way, we should mention, as an obligatory thing, of course, pornography.
Yeah, I don't have any news stories about my dad's porn collection. There's always...
Although we did come up with a storyline, you and I.
Oh yeah, that's true. A movie that would star my dad.
And his name, the title character's name is Safe Sex Grandpa.
Yeah. So would my dad be Safe Sex Grandpa or a separate character? I mean, my dad's getting pretty old. He could be Safe Sex Grandpa.
I think we should go for it.
And this combines, both of our things of talking about my dad's porn collection and movie ideas that I had.
Steal the idea. Steal it. Yeah. If you can do Safe Sex Grandpa before we do, it's yours.
So I guess this is also a traditional thing in all these movies, is whoever was the final girl in the previous movie needs to die early in the next movie. Like, it's so rare for a character who survived the previous movie to actually survive the next movie. Like, and this chick, she's just like, she's not connected, right? She's just like the foster family, I believe.
Max is gone.
Listen to me. Drop the phone, go to the nearest store, get out of the house. Quickly, now, go on!
Oh, all right. So this I want to bring up. So, okay, hold on. Let's just listen. See if you can hear this. I'll turn it up later for the podcast, but.
All clear.
Nothing above, nothing below.
What about Max?
Adobe, right?
This is not happening to me. Max! Max, what have you done? I'm so embarrassed.
It's what we're here for.
Rescue cats.
Find dogs.
That's a job.
And we love it.
Yeah, no, I don't think we could really hear it, but I'll turn it up for the podcast. They'll hear it. So what just happened? This is just a cardinal sin. This is the only thing about this movie that is not acceptable and needs to go. Is it's all a pretty serious movie. It's a pretty cool setup, like I've been ranting about it. I think it's so cool that you got this mute kid who can sense what Michael's going to do. So there's these two cops that are just like, you know, they called because they could sense that the woman from part 4 was in trouble. But, you know, she seems to be okay. So the cops are just like, yeah, hey, of course not. We got nothing better to do. It's what we love more than anything is to just come help people for no reason. And then the music is like, and that's not okay. That is not okay. That would have been a dumb thing to do in one of those Abbott and Costello Meet the Wolfman movies. In 1989, it's way not okay.
Uncalled for.
Yeah, it's like, what, do you just think the audience is that dumb that they can't follow the tonal shift that like, oh, these are the funny sort of cops that sort of have a wacky repartee and some wacky banter?
I'd like to mention just how batshit crazy the Sam Loomis character is.
He's been through some shit.
Yeah, he's been through some shit. I mean, he's got visible burn scars on his face from stemming from part 2 when the hospital room he and Michael Myers were in ended up getting blown up with propane tanks or some such shit. But he's crazy. Like, he follows this guy around. He's got a great big fucking hand cannon. And he comes back in the second part. He does this again. He's still got the hand cannon. Like, he's a fucking doctor.
He's like the Tommy Jarvis, but over and over, right? Like, he's been in like 4 or 5 of these movies. Like, and his character is still around in the new one. Like, he won't fucking stop.
And now he's in part 4 and 5, and he's like right in Jamie Lloyd's face, like, fucking draw the picture. Draw it. Fucking draw it.
I've had it with this shit.
You know, like, and let's give props here. I want to give some props to Danielle Harris, who played Jamie Lloyd in part 4 and 5. Like, she was a tremendous actress as a child. Like, yeah. I mean, she did a really good job making you believe that she was having a hard time speaking and that she was genuinely scared and upset and all this other stuff. Like, she did a really good job. Like, she shrugged off that other Riri kid that was, you know, trying to comfort her. And she's like, fuck off, retard, without saying fuck off, retard.
Yeah, it's all in the eyes.
Yeah, it's all in the eyes.
We've all made that face.
Yes, I'm making it right now.
Yeah, I was almost disappointed, like, halfway through this movie when she learns how to talk again, because she's still a really good kid actress. But I loved just, she's so good at the sign language thing, and they just trying to express or write down, like, what... I really love... This is like, you know, that's another, I guess, recurring theme of this podcast.
Oh, you're fucked.
Oh, see you later.
You're fucked.
So chick from part 4, yeah, she just died. And now, through the psychic link, the kid is freaking out.
And there she is. Like, this looks good to me. Like, this is, I mean, not good, like, pleasing, but,
yeah,
you
well,
know.
That's where that weird little stupid music cue, like, I know it wasn't the director's choice. Somebody put that in, because this movie's really well shot. Like, there's all these long scenes, and, like, I think we might have missed it already, but there's this one scene where it's just the camera going around the house, you know, and, like, you might see Michael for a second in the window for, like, one shot, and the rest is just, and it's like, somebody gave a shit with part 5. They didn't phone it in. And I'm sure just some idiot in the editing bay is like, I don't know if people will get this as a joke.
No, usually something like that happens because the producer comes in after the fact and goes, let's give a little comic relief. Do.
Yeah.
Like.
And really, I shouldn't complain too much. Like, it was just, it's insanely terrible, but at least it was only that one scene, and the cops come back later, and there's another little thing like that. But it's not like, do you remember in like the mid 2000s, I'm thinking of like The Mummy 2, where they just have like a whole character that's just an annoying comic relief dick for the whole fucking film. Like, it's not bad like that. So
Brendan Fraser?
could be worse, yeah. Everyone in that movie, including the CGI Scorpion King, was just a bad joke. But yeah, one of the other things that comes up a lot in these podcasts is ideas that I love that I want to steal and use for myself. And like just this concept of a mute girl who is the only one that knows what's going on. Someday I just want to steal that idea. I want to make a version of this movie again, you know? It's like with, they eventually kind of did it, but I remember when I watched the old Planet of the Apes movies, and they got real weird, you know? Those 1 and 2 were pretty normal. 3, Dr. Zaius goes back in time. But then 4 was the rise of the Planet of the Apes, where the apes were in jumpsuits and were janitorial people. And, you know, it's like this situation's going to blow. And then that's what they did in those new Planet of the Apes remakes. But I love that because I thought that back when I saw Planet of the Apes 4, I'm like, this is the one. This is the one to remake. And then they did. So what I'm saying is Halloween 5, this is the one. Take these ideas and do this again, and it could be so good.
This girl was also very fun in this movie. Like, she, I can't think of her name, obviously. I didn't do any prep for this, but the one who Jamie ends up being close with because her fucking stepsister or foster sister's toast now.
But she's also a grade A horror movie dumb bimbo, where the part coming up in a bit where Jamie like breaks through and can talk again. Huge moment. Like, this kid has been through so much shit she couldn't speak. Now she can. And is talking to this girl. But this girl's like, oh, it's so great that you're not PTSD crazy anymore. But I got a Halloween party at the old barn, and I gotta go. It's like, you can't even spend the evening with this poor kid. You just gotta go party.
Yeah.
She deserves her death so much.
Does she die? I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure she does. I gotta admit, it starts to, by the end, a lot of people die in this movie. I started losing track a little bit. It was even actually a little surprising, the death of the blonde chick from part 4. I mean, she got stabbed by Michael with a big fucking pair of scissors. She's obviously dead. But it's like surprising how fast they cut away from it. And then nobody's really too concerned. Like, it's not really confirmed that chick died for a long time in this movie, which is a little weird. There's little things about this that could be...
Now, who the fuck is this?
Yeah, and this is just her, like, budget Christina Applegate chick.
Budget Christina Applegate.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, you just need some new party teens to get killed. So, one thing I wanted to ask about my limited knowledge of the history of Michael Myers, like, in my mind, obviously because I called him Jason earlier, like, I think of them similarly, you know, of like masked guys that started off as just normal people and maybe just kept developing into more and more supernatural seeming people.
A traumatic childhood that made them a masked homicidal maniac.
Right. But then there's a part in this movie where Michael is being surprisingly normal, where he's driving around with this brunette chick and he's just driving a car. And I'm like, this just seems weird that he's so playful and he's driving a car. But then in the first one, he was like that, right? He was just a guy driving a car, killing people. Like, he's not a demon, is I guess what I'm trying to say, right? He's just a guy?
He is just a guy, yeah. Although I think that they took a lot of liberties with the character as time went on, in that they made him a little less supernatural seeming and a lot more sort of like mindless mongoloid, like big hulking brute sort of character, kind of like what they did with Jason. Because if you look at the timeline for Friday the 13th, you know, Jason has been around since part 2, really. I mean, well, part 1 for like a brief moment in the end, but part 2 as an adult. And you see him, and he's like an average sized dude, like maybe a touch bigger than average, but it's like they go part 2, 3, 4, 5 doesn't count because it's not Jason, it's the EMT guy. And then you've got part 6. These are all guys that are roughly about the same size. And then you get Kane Hodder, who is way bigger than these other guys. And now Jason doesn't look like he's got that same physique. He's got like And everything you see since art-wise, like he's this great big brute, like, you know,
Right.
huge hulking dude with a hockey mask. Like any characters you see, artwork, all that stuff, he's big and he's recognized as being a really oversized dude. And it sort of went that way.
With Michael as well.
Yeah, in that every sequel he seems to get a little bit bigger, sort of thing. And coming to the penultimate Rob Zombie films where it's Tyler Mane, who used to be a professional wrestler and then went on to do the X-Men movies and things like that. Like, he's a big
He's
dude.
fucking Silverback. What's his name? He's the other Wolverine, isn't that him?
Oh, Sabretooth,
Yeah, right.
And he's fucking big. He's a big guy. But he's bigger than Michael Myers has any right being.
Yeah, it's interesting to look at these things from both angles, right? Like, we have such a different idea of a slasher movie nowadays than back then. Like, when you go back to, what was it, 1978 that the first one came out?
Of Halloween, yeah.
Like, if there's nothing really before it, like it was kind of the first one. Yeah, it's like it's interesting to think that you don't even consider the guy needing to be Super Shredder. He doesn't need to be this huge dude. He just needs to be a killer guy, and that seemed normal. Like, they probably wouldn't even have thought about making him huge. But nowadays, it's weird to think of these guys not being huge. You know, like it's just escalated.
I mean,
This was one of the shots I was talking about, or one of the scenes. Like, this is all lit well, shot well, even though we're watching a VHS copy on a fucking 4K TV, like horrible reprobates. Like, it's well done. It's just really good. I'm gonna say it. I don't hate Halloween 5.
no, I actually really like 4 and 5. I mean, I like, well, like I said, I like 1 through 5 and then 7. And I do like the Rob Zombie remakes. I mean, you have to look at them like they're their own thing. If you try to lump them in with the mythology that has been built over, 8 or 9 other sequels, then of course you're going to be fucking disappointed because it's not the same thing. Rob Zombie does not do movies like other people do movies.
Man, so yeah, just here, like, I just feel like they got to the core of something. Like, that's what, to me, like, the best horror movies are when you get, just the kind of metaphor thing of, like, Buffy was like, high school is hell, but it's really on a hellmouth. Or Ginger Snaps, like, yeah, you lost touch with your siblings because they turned into werewolves. Like, just that this girl, like, she just got, it was like the janitor guy who was scaring the shit out of her. And then she's trying to explain and she can't explain. Like, this gets to the core of what happens in so many of these movies where some shit's happening and no one ever believes it,
Look at this. Look at this. Sam Loomis coming in. She's just been traumatized and he's in her face again.
Yeah. And I just feel like it's such a sympathetic character. Like, this hits on so many levels of, like, this kid doesn't need this shit, but at the same time, this kid's the only one that has any sense. And even that, I guess there's no specific explanation except that there's some kind of blood tie. But it's just one of those things that's easy to buy into. It's like, yeah, this kid just feels not Jason. Fuck.
Cut that out.
If I do it a third time, I'll stab myself in the testicles.
No, you won't.
And I just won't do it a third time, so I don't have to.
Now, in the scene, you've got Sam Loomis hunched over, like hunkered over, practically putting his weight on this girl who's supposed to be on this girl who's supposed to be what, 8 years old, roughly 8 or 9, and then this nurse comes in from the other room. Now, in this day and age, if a nurse walked in a room and saw a grown man hunkered over a little girl in a bed, like, I don't even know. Like, he'd be in cuffs faster than you could spit.
And it doesn't help that half of his face is all burned off. Like, it doesn't make him seem less like a molester.
I recently heard a theory. There was a psychologist who was on this podcast about the Halloween series, and he was talking about how there is a possibility that if you really think about the characters in the movie, Michael Myers may have started killing because he was a victim in his own home. You know, like his parents didn't pay attention to him, and it's implied by this psychologist that maybe Judith Myers, the sister that he kills in the first movie, was molesting him or something like that, like taking liberties or something like that, and he like snapped or something.
What did, because I haven't seen the Rob Zombie one since it came out, but I remember the first half was all about
His childhood.
yeah. What did it get into? What was the Rob Zombie take?
Well, there was just something fucked with this kid in the first place. Like, when you see him, like, he's, killing pet rats and, shit like that. And he's got masks, and he wears the mask while he's killing the rats. And he gets bullied at school. And his mother, who is a stripper, her boyfriend, who's got casts on, like, his arms or legs or something like that, very abusive dude, makes fun of him, calls him a queer, and calls him Michelle instead of Michael. His sister's abusive as well, and they both take turns, both she and the stepfather figure, making fun of Michael for being a fag or whatever, something wrong with him, Meanwhile, on the other side of the coin, you see the sister coming in to eat breakfast, and this guy, like, leering at this girl's body, like, just real creepy, like. He's mentally abused. He's got the threat of physical violence from this dude all the time. The only person who's not on his case, seemingly, would be his stripper mother. But who knows what happens to this kid when she's not home, if you look at this film and the way that the story is kind of unraveling. And then it gets to a point where they find in his locker, like, pictures of these Polaroids of dead animals that he's killed. So there's a psychiatrist in there in the office, which was Sam Loomis, and the principal and their mother, the fuck was her name? Sherry Moon Zombie's character anyway, Michael Myers' mom.
I was going to say that as a joke because I just assumed, but it really was.
Yeah, no, it was, yeah. Michael hears them talking about him, so he fucking goes to his locker, grabs his shit, and he fucks off. Then one of the bullies who picks on him, he follows this bully, and he puts the mask on, and he fucking kills this kid in brutal fashion. And it just starts off, all of his bullshit.
Yeah, I never saw the second one, but yeah, I should watch that again sometime.
It's good as well. It does some stupid shit, like there's the whole thing where Michael, as an adult, is seeing a younger version of himself, as well as his mom, who's wearing all white. She's dead. She killed herself in the first movie. And a white horse. So he's seeing if you could edit the movie and take out these things, the movie would be awesome, because it's also fucking brutal.
So that is a perfect segue. You teed me up perfect for this other idea that I had. I had the idea when I saw those cops in that dumb music cue in this movie. So I was saying how it would just be interesting if we had our own movie distribution company. It would just be cool, but I don't know how we would ever fit into that market or what we would ever be able to do that, makes things different. So here's my idea. First, I need to edit a movie and win an Academy Award for editing. Like, I need people to think I'm a good editor, and I need to care about my opinion as an editor. I can't just do this as a nobody because it'd be too offensive. Then what I want to do, buy the rights to movies and release them, but they will be the prison wallets cut or whatever, where you just take those moments, just that little 2 or 3 minutes, whatever, maybe less. It could be 30 seconds. Just take the parts that ruin a movie and fix them. And that's the version I would put out. Like with this movie, very little would need to be changed. Just a few little, delicate edits. Yeah, just take that shit out and, maybe tighten the movie up in general. I'll go through scene by scene, but that's part of being a good editor is you don't fuck with shit that doesn't need to be fucked with. But some shit needs to be fucked with. And maybe we could do that too with Halloween 2. Fuck it. Like, we could fix movies. But that's the problem, is that if we just claimed we could do that. I mean, I know in my heart I could do that. I could make a lot of these movies better. But other people don't know that. They don't believe me. So that's where the Academy Award comes in. I just need to, because then people are sheep. They'll just believe. He's an Academy Award winning editor. He knows how to fix movies. And then they would love it. They would line up to buy my version.
Did you ever hear that? I don't know if I've told you this, or I don't know if you told me this.
By the way, am I coming off likable in this podcast? Probably not, right? Sorry, go on.
Whatever. Topher Grace,
Sure.
from that 70s show, edits movies in his free time.
Oh, really? Oh,
Like-
yeah, I heard about that.
He did the original Star Wars trilogy, the first 3 movies, and edited all 3 down into like a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, like that, and that would be a perfect example. Like maybe not so much Empire, but Jedi and New Hope both could totally use some editing, and like they would be better.
He did the Lord of the Rings movies
Oh, yeah.
and made like a fucking 2 or 3 hour movie out of them.
Well, that's like one thing I would love to do is take the ones that came after that, the Hobbit. Because The Hobbit was actually a great book because it was like a short book. It was like a young adult book before there were young adult books. And all that stuff is in the movies. It's just that there's also 6 more hours of fucking horse shit. You know? If you edited those down to the actual story of The Hobbit, I bet it would be really cool.
Yeah, so anyway, he edits movies in his free time. Just
Yeah, it'd be like Reader's Digest used to put out like abridged versions of books. Condensed books, yeah. Which is kind of, to me, a little offensive. Just read the book, you fucking Philistines. But with a movie, I think that could be a cool thing. And again, like, I don't think I would make huge changes. But just those little changes that just make everything better.
Look, the little Riri's going to give Jamie Lloyd his friendship bracelet.
Could you please be my girlfriend? So that's one thing I was thinking, too, is it's surprising how rarely horror movies involve kids.
That little kid's looking to Mac on her.
Oh, yeah. I wonder what he's up to these days. Isn't it weird? You ever see, like, that sounded weird to say, right? But the kid from A Christmas Story, you know, just a little kid with his little glasses. He dude is a fucking beefcake now. He is like this huge-ass, handsome man. It's just weird when stuff like that happens.
So's that Jonathan Lipnicki kid that was in, like...
Yeah, that's who I mean, I think, right? Christmas Story? Isn't that him?
No. Different kid.
Okay.
Christmas Story was from, like, the early 80s. Something like that.
So which kid is this?
You're thinking of the kid from... what the fuck is that movie called with Tom Cruise?
I don't know. But anyway.
Cuba Gooding Jr. was in as well.
Snow Dogs.
No, same kid that was in the Stuart Little movies.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, and like the kid from that old show Freaks and Geeks, he's also huge ass hunk of a man.
Why are you talking about this?
I don't know. Anyway, what I was gonna say, I'm surprised more horror movies don't involve kids.
Approved.
Yeah, Halloween costumes with titties. Because it's like, it seems like such a natural fit, right? Like kids in horror movies, it ups the stakes so much. It's so much scarier because these kids really are like helpless. But I guess it must be like a combination of, it's a pain in the ass to film with kids because they have all these rules of you can only film so many hours a day and they have to have an on-set tutor and all this horse shit. Plus you can't really kill the kids, you know?
Why not?
I mean, they do sometimes. Like, one of my favorite examples ever is the Hunger Games. Like, I don't think people give that movie the credit it deserves for how brutal it is. Like, as long as you just don't show it on screen, you can kill 40 kids, and it's fine. No one cares. It's not even rated R.
What about It?
I don't know. I still never saw the new It. Can you believe that shit?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
We gotta watch that shit. It's good. Yeah, right at the very beginning, you've got a child death right away. It's fucking awesome.
And I did love in Trick or Treat, that little fat kid who eats the poison and just starts throwing up. That was, I think, my favorite part of that whole movie.
That was a good movie.
And you just don't see that. You just don't see kids getting fucked with that often.
I just love barbaric men.
Jamie has had princess. Give a big hand.
Jamie.
Michael, don't I even get a kiss? Well, I can't resist your new look.
Jamie, come on.
So yeah, so this is Michael now in the car, and this whole run I do find a little weird. So he killed the douchebag greaser. He took his car, and Michael is very cat and mouse in this scene. Just sort of drives around, fucks around with the girl. It's
He has no idea what to do. This girl's showing him sexual attention, and he's getting like all white knuckled on the steering wheel.
But again, yeah, just man, there's something about with the little girl having weird freakouts every time someone's about to die. I just think it's so good, man. Such a good idea.
And there's the man in black that is from the Order of Thorn or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, so for instance, I'd probably cut him out, snip, snip. I'd probably cut this whole scene down a bit. I'd leave it, but he really drives around with this chick for a long time, and she doesn't get killed here. So yeah, I'd probably tighten this up a little. Maybe I should just do what Topher Grace does, just as a fucking editing exercise. Like I said in our Land of the Dead commentary, where I was like, I wonder if I can make a music video out of this. Probably not. But then I did, and it's on our YouTube channel, and I'm so proud of it. It turned out so good. It's better than Land of the Dead.
Well, let's be honest. A room full of retards was fucking better than that.
We're bringing back retard, by the way. We're bringing it back.
Whatever,
time.
I say that all the time.
Yeah. And that's the irony, is that I've loved many a retard in my life. I greatly respect them and their bodies. It's just it's a funny thing to say. It's a turn of phrase. Like I always think about that with saying things are gay. I mean, that was a big thing from when we were kids. Like, that's gay. And it was just one of those things you're not supposed to say anymore. But,
or if you called someone a fag. You weren't calling someone a fag or gay because they were homosexual. It was just a term you used for someone that you thought was kind of, I don't know, an idiot or something like that.
But I've always thought, like, if I ever got raked over the coals for, like, you're not supposed to say gay, what if I just sucked that guy's dick? Just like, well, take your dick out. I'll show you gay. Is that better or is that worse? I mean, I guess we won't know till it happens.
I didn't really want that.
I mean, just because then it would be like, look, I'm not gay. I guess I shouldn't be saying gay, but I just sucked your dick. So can I say gay now? Am I allowed now? Where's the line? What are the rules? Let's figure this out. And I hope this all happens, like, on The View. I don't know what I'm talking about. There's no men on The View. I have all these theories and not theories, things of like, what if I'm famous someday and this happens? What if that happens? It's never going to happen. But... And my plans aren't good. So Michael, see, at this point, maybe Michael's like, shit, man, maybe I'm going to get late. Like, why is he...
You better put on the good mask.
Why is he taking so long? But yeah, so the little girl had a psychic vision, sent the police. They had temporarily saved the brunette. But despite this, see, this is what kills me.
No, wait 1 second. Mm-hmm. She was just surrounded by no less than 5 cop cars. She was in plain sight of Michael Myers in the car. Not one of the cops looked at that car and was like, that's the fucking guy.
Oh, well, I know the car's gone, of course, because, magical Michael disappearing act. But yeah, that's the thing. That's where this chick really earns her death, is like, even if she doesn't quite know what's going on or doesn't believe that the kid has psychic powers, which she should fucking believe at this point, but she's been picked up by the police. This has all been a crazy night. And now Jamie is talking again. Like, just stay with the kid tonight. Don't go to the barn party, you dumb slut. Take one night off, but she won't do it.
Let's see how happy Sam Loomis was to see her too. He was like, she's talking. It was all because of me. Maybe now you'll give me a little...
Yeah. Just the fact that I shook her while I rubbed myself inappropriately against her clearly broke her out of it. So yeah, now I'm going to say, at this point, this is one of those cases where the second half is not as good as the first half. Like, the second half of this is okay, but at this point, now that the kid can talk, and now that our remaining main character, brunette girl, is just the dumbest bimbo in the world, it really does just kind of become a normal stalk people and kill them movie from here on in. But I mean, again, that's fine. It's that's what it is.
And look at her. She's like smiling on the way out the door. She's like, the girl's begging her, stick around. And like,
listen to this line. the doctor, Loomis, says something like, okay, here it is. Hold on.
Why don't you stay the night?
Oh, I'm sorry, I gotta run.
Tina, please.
Stay away, okay? You know, you're really creepy filling that little girl with all that boogeyman crap.
I believe that you're in danger. Jamie believes it too.
Jamie's a 9-year-old girl.
Be sensible.
Just like begging her not to go get herself killed.
Tina!
Yeah, so there's just like, you know, it just tried to be sensible. And she's like, I try my best to never be sensible. It's like, oh, Jude, I can't believe you lived this long. like if you made a top 10 list of dumbest airheads that get killed in slasher movies, she's in the top 10 for sure.
Since when do the police take orders from a fucking crazy old shrink?
Yeah.
You guys supposed to be trailing me or something? Well, then you can give me
And then, yeah, like, they're like, police escort. And she's like, yeah, I guess if you'll drive me to the fucking party, I'll accept my police escort. Like, I don't know that I've ever seen a character with this many, like, signs pointing toward her of, like, you're gonna die. And she just ignores all of them.
She's probably like, I'll give you guys hand jobs all the way there. Like,
Ray. That's offensive.
fuck you, you're offensive.
That's offensive to police officers. They don't accept hand jobs.
Yeah, I guess it's a blowjob or nothing.
Yeah.
they don't stand for the shortchanging.
Jamie's not in her room. She's nowhere.
And they lost that kid that quick.
Yeah.
Why are you touching me? Stranger danger, stranger danger.
I think we brought this up in one of our other podcasts, but I would love to make a movie based on the 80s, the 70s/80s, and just, you know, just the way things that were okay back then, and just push it, you know, and just be like, here we go. We're doing it all again. We're saying all the offensive things. No one's going to act appropriate ever in any situation.
Like, this girl, I can't think of the character's name. I really can't. The brunette.
Right.
The bimbo. She literally shows no regard for this kid that idolizes her.
And this is not a cool party. This is like a fucking pallet fire out in the fucking woods party. Although, I guess, now that I think about it, I mean, maybe she just needs that D. There was this one time, this one time in New York where our good friend Brad came to visit me, and we were in Manhattan getting to drive somewhere, people that I knew but he really didn't know. And I lived way out in Queens. It wasn't easy to get back to my apartment. But I got a text from my New York girlfriend who was basically like, hey, what are you up to? You should come over. And I was like, oh, if I go over there, I'm going to get laid. So basically I was like, hey, drop me off up here. Hey, Brad, I know you don't know these people, but just hang out with them for a while. And then here's a crude map of how to get back to my apartment. Good luck. See you later. Not cool of me at all. I'm glad he eventually forgave me. But and it started raining. He got rained on his long trek home.
Oh, man.
But I got my dick sucked. So, you know, I mean, sometimes these things happen. So that's what I think. That's how we explain this character. She's like, if I go to this barn dance, somebody's gonna fucking roofie me, and I'm gonna have the greatest time. Oh yeah, and this is where the other boop-a-doop-a-doop sound happens, because it's just it's a Halloween party, so it's some idiot pretending to be Michael Myers, and the cops are like, what the fuck? We're literally looking for him right now.
Like, he's very fucking lucky. That character is very lucky. Those cops didn't stop.
Or did stop.
Or did stop,
Yeah,
rather.
didn't shoot his dick off. Did you ever see that RoboCop thing about getting the dick shot off?
Yeah.
Yeah, where they shoot off like 80 guys' dicks. It's pretty funny.
This guy is heading for a three-way.
Ah, the old barn. That's the thing that's interesting too with these 80s slasher movies, is there's so many, like, this is obviously similar to Was it? It was Friday the 13th, 3 and 4, right? 3 ended in the barn.
Yes.
And they went to 4. Just so many similar settings.
You can remember that, but you can't remember that Michael Myers is not Jason.
Yeah, no, I'm way more down with the Jason chronology, but just it's just these cheap movies. Like I love that all these movies were made for nothing. They basically had no special effects by modern standards, you know, just like fake blood type effects, and just hey, we got a barn around, we got a field, we got woods, we got an old house.
Why are they chasing these kittens around?
Do you think they're gonna make it?
No. I'm actually pretty happy that they're not going to make it.
I can't even remember, because yeah, like again, I watched this movie just to kind of, you know, get up to speed a little, so I have some shit to yammer about before we watch it. But at this point, I was really watching it out of the corner of my eye, like while I was at Burger King, so I really don't remember. Like this is at the point now where it's like, you know, the roller coaster was inching upward, but now we're just sliding to the finale. Like nothing innovative is going to happen anymore. It's just kills from here on in.
Here's the thing. I like cats. I really do. But wouldn't it be funny if, you know, she's chasing this cat and all of a sudden, you know, Michael Myers fucking skewers one with a thing in front of her? Because wouldn't that be more scary to her than, you know, him just walking towards her with a knife?
That's one of those things I always find real weird. I mean, like, I got a lot of pretty weird opinions about what's okay to do in society and what, you know, I don't know. Like, if I was in charge, it would be a bad scene. Let's just put it that way. Like, it'd be real weird and creepy. But this, like, people loving animals thing. Like, tell me who's more like a psychopath. I don't care at all. I don't care at all when animals get killed in movies. It doesn't bother me at all. So maybe that's a bad thing. But there's so many people that they hate it when an animal gets hurt in a movie more than they hate it when a person gets hurt. Who's more crazy? Isn't that more crazy? They're like, I don't care about the people that got killed, but that dude killed a dog. Like, fuck that guy. Fuck this whole movie.
I mean, first of all, no one's really killing the animal.
Right.
So, who cares?
Unless it's like fucking, what was that? Cannibal Holocaust or something.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Right. I never saw that movie, but I heard of it.
I saw it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Fuck, they killed a snake. They killed fucking monkey. Like, you actually see the monkey get its head chopped open and they pull the brains out. They killed a turtle.
Chilled monkey brains. Yeah, I heard about the turtles. Yeah, because aren't those like, they were like endangered turtles, right? And they're just like, fuck it, chop them up.
What was the first death in a Friday the 13th movie?
I don't remember.
It was a snake getting killed with a machete.
Yeah, shit. Nice.
Yeah, but and the controversial thing is, it was a real snake.
Oh, man. PETA. Was PETA a thing? When did that start? That, like, no animals have been harmed. I wonder when that started happening in movies.
I don't know. Probably the fucking 80s.
But yeah, that would be one of those, like, you know, one of those, like, Get Out sort of scenarios of just, like, it seems like a nice place, but it's not. Is like, that has always creeped me out. That you've just got these, just, like, nice people, go to church, whatever, but then they're just like, I like animals more than people. Like, just that sentence to me is so creepy. You know? Like, that's a murderer waiting to happen. That's a serial mom waiting to happen.
I saw you.
This scene is too drawn out.
Yeah, like that's where I was saying earlier, like how once the girl's not mute anymore, it's not that aspect of it that's the problem. It's just that's almost like symbolic of like that's when they like ran out of cool ideas. Like that was the idea for this movie was the kid's gonna be mute, the kid's gonna know when people are in danger, and then once that wave breaks, there's nothing to replace it. Like we really are just now we're just filling out the runtime with murders. Or again, fake murders. This guy is still pretending to be Michael. Yeah, like see, that's another good
She should, like, they're gonna make out, which is pathetic. She should kick him right in the dick.
I got another idea for my empire of editing movies. So you remember when Grindhouse came out?
Yes.
And personally, I really liked the Robert Rodriguez half. I did not like the Quentin Tarantino half because it was too slow and too long. But in both cases, I still feel like instead of a 90-minute movie and a 90-minute movie, if it was two 45-minute movies and then the cool trailers and stuff in the middle, that would have been perfect. And you could make both those movies 45-minute movies easy. Death Proof probably would be good if it was only 45 minutes. So like maybe that could be it. We could release double features, but like you could make this movie into like maybe 50 minutes easy.
No
And it
more
would
than
be-
an hour.
Yeah, and then put two of them together and put cool, funny, fake trailers and shit in the middle and do like double feature Grindhouse releases. I think that'd be fucking cool. Because yeah, at this point, like holy shit, we could have cut the last 5 minutes of this fucking movie and nothing would be lost. It wouldn't even make the plot confusing. It would be the same. And yeah, like you can't just release a movie by itself that's that short, but that double feature thing too, it's like such a, like, you know, it's such a cool, it's a classic, because I loved that idea of Grindhouse. It was such a great idea. And I even remember like, when I saw it in Fredericton in the theater, and I was like, Planet Terror, I'm down. All those trailers, I'm down. Halfway through Death Proof, I wanted to kill myself, because I'd already been there for 2 hours. And Quentin Tarantino is just jerking off in my face. I'm like, fuck, this is so boring. I just want to die. And I like Tarantino, but he's always got weird pacing. And
Everything is drawn out. Like, all this shit is drawn out.
yeah. I guess, too, if we were going to do the double feature, we could do, like, the, you know, like Elvira introducing the movie thing, but it's just me and you. It's just two guys that nobody particularly wants to look at. We're just like...
Dressed up like Elvira.
Yeah.
One of us can be doing the Elvira where she's wearing the nipple tassels, and the other one can wear like the black dress thing.
Or what if we just dressed up in a human centipede suit? So you're like, hey, I'm Ray. How do you like the movie so far? And I'm just like, brr, brr, brr. We'll subtitle it. Like I'll be saying like, yeah, I feel like the second half of the movie loses steam, but I'm just like, because you're clearly shitting in my fucking mouth. You're just like eating like chili and stuff.
Hold on a sec, I'll give you an opinion.
Finally, this dumb prick is dead.
Yeah, he had that coming for a long time.
But Bargain Basement Christina Applegate has survived so far. Oh, Blood on the Tits, that's a classic. Man, did you ever see that movie, what was it called? Dale and Tucker versus Evil?
Tucker and Dale versus Evil is amazing.
Because yeah, it's got that scene where they just, the guy accidentally runs into the wood chipper and it just sprays gore all over the chick's tits. That's a great movie, but I love that scene in particular.
I love how Tucker goes in the house too. He goes, you wouldn't believe it. This kid killed himself by jumping right into the wood chipper.
Yeah, I feel like that movie was almost like the Cabin in the Woods before Cabin in the Woods. Like it was just like let's turn horror movies upside down type of thing. Or the other movie that's like that is that Leslie Vernon movie.
I didn't like that movie.
Yeah?
Behind the
Mask or whatever. I only saw it the once, and
Oh man.
I guess like I don't remember it that well, but I thought it was neat that they tried to explain shit. Where he's just like, I'm not allowed to run. No one can see me run. So here's how I plan out my shit. Because even in this movie, like, oh, there's Michael, and now he's disappeared. Like, I was complaining about it like crazy with Jason 5 of just like, where did that guy go? How come no one saw him and now he's there? Like the teleporting villain.
Come on the hell with Mike Hampton show.
I can't leave Sam and Spitz.
Yeah, like maybe that could be an idea for a movie. Is what if we had the murderer guy only kills animals, but he's like ridiculous. He's like the Golden State Killer of animals. Like he's just ridiculous how many neighborhood animals he's killing. So the nice old ladies from church, like they track this guy down and they kill his ass because how many animals do you kill before we kill you?
Maybe, he purposefully makes sure his cat gets pregnant, and when his cat's spitting out kittens, he takes a slingshot and he puts them in the slingshot. Pew!
Man, I had this friend when I lived in the States who he grew up on a farm, and he was talking about that, how they had cats that weren't fixed, and they just would have kittens all the time, and it's just way too many. And you need some of them to keep, fucking mice and rats out of the
Vermin.
barn and stuff. But just too many babies. So he said you just got used to it, of just like they would, I don't remember. I think he just said, I know it involved drowning because there'd be rain barrels all over the place, but I'm pretty sure it was like a drowning / neck breaking like combo. And he's like, it sounds horrible, but after you've done it 30, 40 times, you just do it. You just don't care. You just can't deal with these kittens.
That dude was a serial killer.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I haven't heard what he's up to these days.
Killing cats.
But it is kind of like, I mean, it is sort of true. Like in that No Effects book, El Jefe was talking about when he went to Mexico to visit his Mexican side of his family. And just one of his aunts just slit the throat of a pig and nobody gave a shit. And there's blood everywhere and it's squealing and freaking out. But that's just what you do when you grow up with that.
And here come the kids.
So I don't know how these kids, I mean, they escaped from their little Halloween party at the hospital or whatever, but they somehow made it all the way to the fucking party in the woods. Like that's like some fucking homeward bound shit that they made this journey all by themselves.
Wouldn't you ditch the cape by now?
Yeah. But I can't, it's Halloween. I didn't even get the D yet. I wanted to get the D from so many guys. I can't remember who it was, some porn star, Riley Reid maybe, who was saying how great porn is for her because she just loves like...
Oh, look, he's going to run down that kid.
No. Oh, maybe that kid. That kid might be able to die. That's not the main kid. No.
Oh, that's too bad.
Saved at the 0 hour because they don't want to kill kids.
That stinks.
But yeah, I remember she said Riley Reid loved porn because in real life, trying to get 5 guys to fuck you is really hard because dudes don't want to do that. It's not just as easy as like, hey, everybody want to fuck me. It reminds me of like fucking, I think I'm thinking of it too just because we're spending so much time in barns in the woods. Fucking Son-in-Law, was that the name of the Pauly Shore movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, where everybody was like accused that chick of gangbanging in the barn. I don't know if she did or not, or I don't remember that movie that well. But I always thought of those things of like, yeah, you can't just, doesn't matter how hot you are, you can't just say like, hey, 5 guys, you want to bang me? Because the guys would be like, well, I don't know, because we all have to be naked and rub our nuts together and stuff. I don't know, we're good. I don't think we want to do that. You got to finesse it.
Man, I don't know how we get on porn every time we do this. But
Yeah, it's just, I would say it's like I'm learning something about myself, but I'm not. I knew already.
Look at her covered in blood and shit.
Yeah, and Brunette's still alive. I mean, I don't think she survives this movie, but maybe. Guess we'll see. So we got, so Christina Applegate is dead. Her boyfriend, the douchebag, is dead. So basically we got Airhead Brunette is still alive, and
Jamie Lloyd and Riri Kid.
yeah, both still alive. I presume this is all we're dealing with from here on in. I don't think there's any other characters. Oh, and Dr. Loomis is out there somewhere.
Oh yeah, being crazy. He's probably, grabbed 10 kids by now and either molested them or screamed at them. You're not being sexy enough.
And if I say that, then you're really not being sexy. You're not even trying. Oh, wait. This is coming back to me. So Michael was in the car crashed, but is this not Michael? Is that going to be yet another reveal of this not actually being Michael, but just one of the fucking millions of people wearing this mask tonight? No, it has to be him, right?
Yeah, that's him.
So he's not a good driver. He's willing to drive around, but he's not a good motorist. Yeah, like even that's like the cliched scene of like, oh, I can't quite climb away. I can't seem to get to my feet. But it's better when it's a little kid. It's all way more believable.
Oh.
Okay, I think Brunette pretty pretty clear stabbing happening.
But only one stab. Like, normally he finishes somebody off, so he must really dig her.
So the two kids are still hobbling away. Does Michael Myers have any, I don't know, philosophy on killing kids? Has he killed kids?
Well, he's trying to. He's just not very good at it.
Because I presume, like, Jason wouldn't kill kids, right? He just wants to kill counselors.
Jason doesn't kill kids. He kills counselors or other adults who get in the fucking way. Oh, and from out of nowhere...
I could smell you, children. Fucking Dr. Loomis.
Oh, that's bad.
People tell me it's a creepy power, but it's a power, damn it.
Look at all these cops from out of nowhere. We caught him. We caught the old man.
No, damn it, you don't understand. I wasn't going to molest them till after we get rid of Michael.
I mean, no, I just wasn't going to do that at all. He told me to turn my head and cough. Fucking kid.
I was just seeing if they're all right. That kid had a limp. It could have been a swollen testicle. Yeah, Brunette is dead. They're carrying her away on a gurney. Millions of cops wandering around, bumping into each other, not doing anything to try to find... Yeah, this kid really is a good actor. She did some other stuff, right? As like a grown-up?
Oh yeah, man. She was in The Last Boy Scout as Bruce Willis's daughter. She was also in... she directed one movie herself. I don't remember what it was. She's in the Hatchet movies. The movie she did was called Among Friends. That's what she directed. But she spit out a kid, and I think she's pregnant again. So she wanted to be in this new Halloween movie, but they basically said, no, it's not going to happen.
Right, because I guess they sort of ignored this whole run, right?
Yeah, but in the movie, Laurie Strode does have a daughter and a granddaughter.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, there's room. There's room in there.
And, I mean, the girl's the same age as me. Like, she's 40, 41 years old, you know, like... And look, there he is. All the cops are coincidentally gone.
Not a lot of able-bodied opposition to Michael. It's either a little kid, an old man, or just some idiots that are drunk. So, you know, Freddy versus Jason.
If they were to know that.
If they were to do one of those with Michael, who would it be? Michael Myers versus who?
I don't know. I don't like them. I don't like those sort of mashups because...
Versus Michael Myers versus Predator?
That'd be funny. I mean, that was the big thing when we were kids was Freddy versus Jason. Which side are you on? Who do you think would win? And my opinion was always that it couldn't happen because Freddy attacks people in their dreams, and it's not like Jason's taking cat naps.
And that was kind of the cop-out ending when they finally did make that movie of like both sides could say that they won because Jason cut off Freddy's head, so clearly Jason won, but then Freddy winked at the camera, so it's like, you ain't dead. Still, though, I say Jason won. Fuck that.
I mean, I'm a bigger fan of Jason. Actually, I think I'm a bigger fan of Jason than I am Michael Myers as well, you know.
I could see them doing it, maybe if they picked some of the, go down a step of, seriousness, of, the Child's Play doll versus... What would they even call him, though, right? Chucky, I guess. Just Chucky versus someone, I don't know, the Leprechaun.
Well, there was a comic series, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that, yeah. That's sort of, I don't know. I guess none of those things, they're always ultimately disappointing, but it's just so hard to not think about it. It's like, so it seems like these things could be good. Whatever it was, just like Chucky versus Pumpkinhead. Just like... some shit that made no sense.
I don't know. I don't think any of these things would work. Like, just mashups suck.
That was one thing that was super cool about Cabin in the Woods, that they kind of pulled all that stuff together. Like when everything just went to shit in that facility, and it's just like every horror movie monster all at once. That was pretty cool. I should watch that movie again.
Like, she really is a good actress.
She's just like,
And there's that mark there that I was telling you about on the wall.
right.
The mark of thorn.
She's like, the movie, it's not over yet. How is it still going? Is this true? Give me confirmation. Is this movie still not over?
Are there any other children's, preferably male? Preferably virgins. I like them. Oh man, that's so bad.
Do you really have to say that for preferably virgins? These kids are like 10 years old. Too many times you've sent me used and abused children. This is not what I want.
Yeah, this is fucked.
Yeah, this is weird. I mean, again, Nick Kelly, I guess when I watched this the first time, like, I really was kind of drifted off at this point. But yeah, they've got literally the whole fucking police force, like a whole SWAT team at this point. This is a little weird.
Wearing military fatigues and high-powered weaponry.
Yeah, this could be the movie, I guess. Michael Myers versus the LAPD. He just takes on the whole fucking...
He'd be fine because his mask is white.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, there's not even any characters left. What are we supposed to say about this movie now? Like, Jesus fucking Christ, everyone's dead. It's over. It's over, Loomis. I don't care if you think you can still salvage this situation. Everyone is dead.
Now you'll come, won't you, Michael?
Creepy.
It was acceptable in the 80s. This is right at the end, too, right? 1989. This is the end of the golden era. What year did Friday the 13th Part 8 come out? It was still in the 80s, right?
89.
Yeah, right at the end, man. This was it. This was last chance for romance. No more 80s horror movies after this.
88 or 89.
Yeah, because they skipped a year in there somewhere, right? Or a couple of years.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was 1990. Oh, here's our jovial cops with their fucking wacky music are about to die. It's funny too, so now that the kid, Jamie, can speak, she doesn't really seem to have the psychic connection anymore. Now she can just hear people being murdered through the cops' radios that they won't turn off. So she's still freaking out.
Look at this. This motherfucker, this fucking psychiatrist, is pointing a handgun at a police officer's head.
He really does play by his own rules. Yeah, this movie definitely, unquestionably weaker in the second half.
Like, no matter what happened at the end of this fucking old dude would be going to jail.
Man, how did he survive this long? Like, you know how they constantly murder the people who survived the previous movie. How did this dude get away with this? I guess he's the name, right? Like, he's the only one people really kind of know, but I'm amazed his character has not been killed yet. That is a weird thing too, though, with celebrity people. It's like when I saw the name, I'm like, oh, Donald Pleasence. But I have no fucking idea why I know that name. You know,
Yeah, he's in a bunch of shit. He was in some Amicus shit, and he was in, I believe he was in some Hammer shit. Don't quote me on that, though.
Right.
He's been around for fucking ever. I mean, well, he's dead now.
So we think. Just... Da-da, da-da, da-da.
He was also in part 6, actually. But I think that was like the last movie that the Sam Loomis character was in, until he was brought back by Rob Zombie, and it was Malcolm McDowell.
Man, isn't it going to be creepy that real soon we're going to be in a world where they can just digitally bring back actors? Like they'll just, scan all their voice stuff that they ever did and scan their faces and just put them in. They're just going to put dead people in movies.
Dude, they've been doing that.
Yeah?
Yeah. They did it for Grand Moff Tarkin, who would be the Peter Cushing character.
You're right.
And they did it with they did Leia, like young Leia, before what's her name died.
Yeah, back in the day, man, it was a lot trickier. You needed to be like, oh shit, Linda Hamilton has a fucking twin? Like, bring her in. Let's do some twin shit. So Dr. Loomis is trying to speak reason to Michael. I remember, I did. I listened to this the first time, but I remember I focused back in on the movie here, but it wasn't really a compelling speech. He's just like, because this is the home, right? This is supposed to be the original house, and
yes,
and he's just like, come with me, Michael. It'll be all right, like you don't have to feel the pain anymore. Blah blah blah. But where he goes wrong is, give me the knife. Like, no, let him keep the knife. And there you go. Now you're getting stabbed, just like everyone gets stabbed.
Whatever happened to respect your elders?
So I guess Michael Myers, he's kind of the other side of the creative kills coin, right? Like the king is Freddy. Freddy never does the same kill twice. Jason is medium level. He switches it up quite a bit, but Michael,
as much as he can. I mean, he's killed so many people.
Yeah, he's creative as far as bludgeoning, blunt objects and stabbings go. But Michael really just stabs you.
Why are these cocksuckers wasting time? I say cocksuckers. I just pluralize that word. One is a grown man, one is a little girl. Oh, man.
I need you on my back. You just hold on.
Michael's busting through the door. See, this is a bad scene too. Like, this is sort of structurally a problem when the only person left is a cop we've never seen before.
And how bad a shot is he? The first 2 or 3 shots went into the door nowhere's near Michael Myers.
Yeah. Oh, there he comes back. But surely this cop will survive. Oh, he's just been stabbed. However, the girl, very smart of her, is like, I will take this opportunity to run away.
Because fuck the police. Fuck the police.
Fuck the police, because I'm a teenager. And I'm going to stab him in his fucking wang. Right? That's pretty good. I'm a nigga with attitude, right? I'd like to point out I said nigga with the A. It's all right, because I'm part black. You know what part. God damn it, man. No one can hold this against us. This movie won't stop. This movie won't end. We have to say something.
No matter how bad it is?
Yeah. I mean, that's not true. Anyone could hold this against us.
Does your mother listen to the podcast you do?
Yeah, I think so.
All of them?
No, she doesn't listen to any. She doesn't know how to listen to a podcast.
That's too bad.
And it's not like she couldn't figure it out. She just doesn't give a shit. You know? Oh, yeah, I remember this. Yeah, the climbing down the chute part. This is kind of cool because, she's, trying to hide in this laundry chute, but Michael fucking finds her, so she just has to fucking let go and just eat shit and just fall down this laundry chute. Yeah, this is definitely, I know I've said it over and over, but way underutilized aspect of horror movies is just kids. It just makes so much sense. It's way scarier. Because, when it's an adult, you just can't get over the idea that these adults are just really dumb. You know, the classic, don't go in that door, don't go up those stairs.
Shitty.
Yeah, where when you're a kid, it's way understandable. And not only that, but this kid is actually acting relatively smart. It's just, she's a little kid. What's she going to do? Peekaboo, kid. Time to stab you. Oh yeah, and this is starting now. Now that it's down to the purity of just Michael versus the kid. This movie does kind of pick up because, like, yeah, she falls down this laundry chute thing, and it's closed at the bottom, so she's kind of stuck in this vent thing. And Michael Myers, he just comes downstairs. He just starts stabbing the shit out of it. Like, anyone who's in there, you're about to get stabbed. Yeah, really, this is all pretty cool. Really, this movie just needed, from the frolicking teens in the fucking barn dance, at that point, like, it just needed some editing, you know? Like, if all this stuff had just been, this last 20 minutes had been cut down by 15 minutes, I think this whole movie would really hold up a lot better. Because, yeah, there is, like, a lot of good stuff in this movie, and enough good stuff that, like, the bad stuff is just minor complaints. Like, I really don't feel like it's that big a deal. I still feel, like, overall charitable toward this movie.
His mask looks fucking weird, though.
I think, too, you see, like, well, that's a weird thing, too. So, yeah, there is you get to see him sort of without the mask at the end of this movie. And some guy on the internet, of course, like, freeze framed it and, put it up, and you can see him pretty clearly. And that's another weird thing with this character, is just, it's like he just kind of looks like a normal guy, and people are like, why does he look like a normal guy? But why isn't he a normal guy? It's like, I don't know, he's just a weird character. Now he's just stabbing up into this fucking shaft. And she's trying to climb up, like, man, yeah, this is a bad scene for this kid. And it's like, it's a little contrived, but it roughly makes sense. Like, this all could happen. Look at this shit, fucking Christ. Like, if I'd seen this as a kid, man, this is nightmare material for sure. Like, I didn't care when, I was saying earlier about people who don't care when that care when animals get killed. It didn't really bother me when grown-ups got killed in horror movies. I'm like, well, who cares? Fuck them. But I feel like if I saw this when I was a kid, I would remember this.
I remember seeing the Siskel and Ebert episode that had this on it, and I was like, oh man, that looks scary as shit.
Man, she managed to climb all the way back up. Not bad. That's some parkour shit, kid. And yeah, at this point, there's no question that Michael is absolutely trying to stab this kid, because that was some pretty serious stabbing he just did in the side of the vent.
At some point, don't you think some of these characters in horror movies, don't you think they would just jump out the nearest window, like, right the fuck through it?
Yeah, for sure. I like too, though, that, yeah, like, the magical disappearing, reappearing Michael, even that seems to have calmed down a bit. Like, when she went down the laundry chute, he had to actually walk downstairs and try and get her. So at this point, he was in the basement, she ran upstairs, and now she's in the attic, and he's making his way back upstairs. Like, I like that it's kind of, like, that's what I really like with these movies, is when the internal logic all works. It's scarier to me than just some guy teleporting around.
And now she's in this fucking room in the attic, and there's candles all over the place, all lit.
And some old hockey skates. Looking for them. Oh, what is that? Oh, gross. So it's like a strung up dog, and oh, there she is. There's the chick from fucking part 4, up in the attic, all dead. And that dude with the car, also dead, but fuck him.
The girl looks an awful lot like Michelle Williams, the dead one.
Right. Jeez, kid, you thought you were traumatized after part 4. Fucking, how you gonna deal with this? And here he comes. Like, even the timing of that worked out. At his fucking slow-ass walk, now it's time for Michael to walk up into the attic. Because, he had to spend a little time looking around to make sure she wasn't in the other floors of the house. Man, yeah, like, there's, like, the bad parts of this movie are pretty weak, but, man, the good parts are good.
And she's resigned herself now. She's not getting away. She's in a coffin with her picture by it.
Yeah.
And after all this, he's putting the fucking knife down. He's got a clear shot. She's not running.
Yeah, so I guess this is like a little bit contrived, but she's just, I guess it's basically like, yeah, she's not going anywhere. There's no way she can get out of this. So she's like, hey, let me see your face. Show me your face, Michael. And he's like, yeah, okay.
Let me see.
Yeah, it is weird. Like, you do get that was a pretty clear look. It's just, I guess it just, I don't know, he's a weird, like I was saying, just a weird character. It's like, he seems like he should be more of a Jason Voorhees type guy, but he's not. He's just a guy. He did seem a little handsome there, though. Maybe a little too handsome.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
Oh yeah, Dr. Loomis thought he was dead, but apparently not. So yeah, she took that opportunity to escape. She ran downstairs. Now big bad Daddy Loomis is here, trying to molest her again.
He's like handing her off. Like,
Yeah. Oh, that is true though. That is what happens here. Yeah, he's like uses her as a weird bargaining chip because he's a bad doctor. He's very robust in his fucking methods. It is interesting that, like, yeah, you can't outfight Michael. The only chance is to bargain with him in some weird way. Like, Loomis's way is like, I got the kid. You want the kid? Let's make a deal.
where the fuck did he get a net made of chain?
Yeah, so you caught Michael in a big chain net. Yeah, that is an extremely uncommon item. And he's pulled out his giant gun and is now shooting Michael.
With what must be trank arrows?
I guess. Didn't work though. Now he's got a board with a nail in it. This is getting sad, Loomis. Like, come on. Although it's working.
How you gonna explain to all your other serial killer friends that you got beat by an old dude with a board? Man, does Loomis ever come off as a pedo creep in this movie, though?
Yeah, now he's pulling the classic Corey Feldman, just hitting him over and over. But yeah, this is it's a little contrived. Like, yeah, like the chain net is extremely unlikely that would be all set up, or that he could set it up, that he would have one, and that he could set this up while stabbed.
And now he's having a heart attack.
And yeah, this old man should not be able to beat Michael into submission with a board. He had a gun. Use the gun. Why'd they take away his gun and give him a board? These filmmakers make weird choices. But whatever, one way or the other, they've incapacitated him, and now everything will be fine forever.
Or will it?
Yeah, and one of those fucking 6,000 cop cars finally showed up.
Alright, I remember this ending now.
Yeah, maybe gilds the lily a little bit. So they've got him in prison, and they're like, he won't be getting out of here for a long time. That would have been fine. You could have ended there. But now they wanted to make sure that we are all certain that there's going to be a sequel. So
why would they let him wear the mask in the cell?
Yeah.
He's wearing his mask in the cell, shackled up.
Man, see, this would be tough. Like, this is where if I was doing my super secret fixed version, my edit, like, I just don't really know what you do here. Like, with the chain fucking thing and the gun that then turns into a board that then turns into Michael with a mask on in jail. At some point, I guess there's just too many weird things happening. Like, there's no clear way to fix that.
Why is everyone touching this little girl?
I think maybe I would try to edit it. Like, the cops show up and Michael is just not caught. He just, like, is gone. I don't know. And yeah, all this stuff with the man in the hat. This guy just needs to be out of this movie. I guess I respect their attempt to keep things going, like with 4 when they set up the weird thing where Jamie is the new killer, and in this one they've got like, oh, the man from the Thorn Society whatever has got to save his magical Michael friend. But I don't know, I don't really think you need to set up the sequel in movies like this. It's better to just fuck yourself into a corner and then try to figure out what to do in the next one, you know? Because that's what they end up doing anyway. They just end up fucking rewriting history anyway.
So everyone's fucking dead. All these cops are dead.
You know, I guess if they were going to do another Versus movie, it would have to be Michael and Jason versus Freddy, right? Like they tag team against Freddy.
But like a porno.
Yeah. Like a porno. Just, yeah, absolutely a porno. You never really see that. I guess that'd be too weird. Like, there's all those like XXX porn parodies. That's like a huge thing now. But I've never seen one of a horror movie.
Oh, yeah. There's been some. There was a Freddy Krueger one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And there was Edward Penis Hands, and
there was the Bear Wench Project. That was super softcore, but it had a lot of titties. Man, this kid is traumatized times a fucking 1,000 at this point. So now the fucking cell is somehow on fire and the bars are twisted open. Michael has definitely escaped. Millions of dead cops. Credits. So, yeah, there we go. Definitely pretty large chunks of this movie that have significant problems, but overall, still some really cool stuff in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a solid entry. I definitely put it right up there with the other 4 original sequels that came before it because I enjoyed them all.
Yeah, and you gotta, I mean, in all 80s slashers, I mean, you take them with a grain of 80s salt. There's, there's gonna be some weird shit going on in these things, but yeah, there's some stuff I liked a lot in that movie.
But man, all of the touching of children in this, so weird.
Yeah, definitely.
So unnecessary.
Where I come from, we call them baldies.
Oh, dude.
That's another thing that comes up too often in this podcast. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm a little disappointed in our VHS viewing that there were no trailers at the start of this tape. I was really looking forward to like what weird shit Anchor Bay was going to toss at us. Own It Now, Candyman on VHS. Fucking, what's that movie? Fucking The Lawnmower Man on VHS.
You have to have like a southern, old El Paso salsa type voice when you say that. I read that as cock. It's cook. But why is a cook also a driver?
Cock driver. Cock's assistant. Cock services. Cock stand-in. So whenever I see the long-ass credits for a movie, I'm like, I don't know, don't you think just me and you could do probably a pretty good movie? I mean, obviously not, that's ridiculous, but there's so many people. I always thought that was weird about Hollywood productions. It's like crazy. There's no way they need this many people.
Let's look at the soundtrack here. You've got Romeo Romeo by Becca. You've got Dancing on Midnight by White Sister. Anything for Money by DV8. Second Time Around by the Rhythm Tribe.
So, have you heard of any of these? I don't know any of these songs.
No.
Man, you gotta give credit, too, to fucking, what's his name? The super famous guy, John Carpenter. Like, that he made these soundtracks, too, for his old movies is just, like, so awesome. And this is probably his most iconic one, right? Like,
it's definitely up there. I mean, he gets a lot of love for The Thing as well.
Yeah, and like Escape from New York is a pretty weird movie, but really cool music.
Now, this might sound like a little bit of sacrilege. I do love the Halloween movies. It's one of my favorite overall series. But as far as John Carpenter created movies go, I have to say The Fog is my favorite.
I've never seen The Fog.
I have The Fog.
Well, sounds like a match made in a gay dude's ass. I'm sorry. Let me just apologize to everyone out there.
This episode really is not a part. There's a whole lot of porn, a whole lot of gay, and a whole lot of child touching going on. Not by us necessarily, but man.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think this is the best and the worst podcast. One thing I was always curious about is, because, yeah, John Carpenter, he's another one of those dudes. Like, we were talking before the podcast about how Tim Burton had, like, a legendary run. Like, it just started, his career started so good. John Carpenter's like that. Like, just an insane amount of great, classic, memorable stuff. Where do you think it went wrong? Like, I feel like Ghosts of Mars is the first time. I never saw Ghosts of Mars, but that's the first time I heard people say, like, fucking shit, that movie sucked. John Carpenter sucks now. And I'd be, like, curious to watch it and see what it's like.
It's hard to say because I have sort of a love-hate relationship with John Carpenter movies. Like, a lot of people love The Thing. I think The Thing is okay.
Right. I gotta say, I do love The Thing. It's pretty fucking good.
A lot of people love Big Trouble in Little China. I actually despise Big Trouble in Little China.
And that was him too. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, so I don't remember. I was gonna say with The Thing too. I think one thing that helps, I've only seen The Thing twice, both times an original print in the theater. So I mean, I saw it under the best conditions you could ever see that movie.
Or did you? Because I've seen it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I mean, that is one weird thing about when they dig up the old prints is, yeah, they kind of look like shit sometimes, but that's part of the charm, you know?
I've never made it all the way through They Live. I haven't seen Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty... He's done so much stuff. I guess there is, yeah. There's a lot of... It's like the salt and pepper. There's a lot of shit in there.
I mean, again, I love the Halloween movies.
And even stuff like, I mean, Escape from New York, I didn't really like it that much. It's like, looks awesome, cool idea, but just, it's one of those things where the tone is just like all over the place.
Assault on Precinct 13, you know, like that was alright. But The Fog is my favorite movie that John Carpenter did.
However, he had nothing to do with this, and I guess, yeah, there we go, we made it. We're done. We made it to the end. I love this fancy pants VCR you've got too. Like, my VCR was never this fancy when I was a kid, where when you stop the tape and play it, it's got like a B and E, which I assume means beginning and end. Mm-hmm. And it shows where the halfway point is, where the, you know, three-quarter mark is on this tape. And it shows you as you rewind the tape. Like, this was an advanced VCR.
I got this VCR for nothing.
Oh, yeah, is this one you got on like the trading thing?
Yeah, I got it on a trading app called Buns. And
is that about a gay man's ass?
No, I thought as much too when I first signed up.
But you were pleasantly surprised that it was just, you got free VCR.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And I made a trade before I even got the VCR to another guy.
Ray, what's going to happen when I win my Academy Award for editing and then somebody finds these podcasts and posts all the things that I said?
What happens if we somehow get like crazy popular and then they go back and they're like, remember what you said about retards and fags?
Well, now, and then, yeah, it's going to be like the Wishmaster will become fag retards. So, sorry, what did you trade to get this VCR?
I love jizz in my mouth.
Yeah, okay, it's been decided. We need to get the rights to Wishmaster, and we gotta bring it back.
Dump a hard one in my dumper.
I mean, who wouldn't laugh at that? Anyone would laugh at that. That's just funny.
Double fist those ham cocks.
And yeah, it'd just be like some hand job loving cops that are like, he offered, I'm not gonna say no. So yeah, what'd you trade to get this VCR?
I traded $10 worth of bits currency.
No shit. So basically nothing.
It was nothing.
Yeah. Cool.
And I traded someone my Synapse copy of Reanimator on Blu-ray for 14 VHS tapes.
Nice.
And they were almost all horror, except for Popeye and The Punisher.
So yeah, I guess we'll see in the future. I don't know if we'll ever get around to doing another VHS commentary. Nothing. I mean, there's things we could do or not. We'll see. But I'm glad we did one. If we do more, that's cool. But I'm glad we did at least one. I just think it's such a stupid idea, and I just was like, I was dying to do a VHS commentary. So I think we picked a good one. A virgin copy That's the best that movie's ever going to look. Like, that was the first viewing of that Halloween 5 tape.
When we're done this, I'm going to put the Blu-ray on.
Oh, yeah, and just see, like, what we missed out on. But, yeah, I just think it's good for horror movies. It's good for 80s horror in particular.
I mean, I do love VHS, and the reason is because you're getting to see it the way you watched it when you were a kid.
Except on a huge TV.
yeah, instead of like a 20-inch or 25-inch TV, you know, a 55-inch 4K TV.
How big was it? Because I always felt like I had a pretty big TV as a kid, but I wonder how big that TV was.
It was a 25-inch.
Yeah, I mean, that's not bad. That's pretty good. And my parents got it for free because they bought for their law firm back in the 80s or early 90s, whenever that was, they bought a photocopier that was like, back then, that shit was like $2,000. But they just got a TV with the thing, and they needed a photocopier anyway, so worked out good.
Nice.
I was thinking about that in my previous story about my dad's porn collection and how he didn't have a TV in his own room. Maybe that's why, because the size of TV he could have got up onto the second floor and through the doorway to his bedroom, he would have been watching porn on a little ass TV, and he was probably like, "Fuck that, I'm a man. I'm a man who makes money. I make my own money. I'm going to watch my porn on my big TV. And if my kids and their friends don't like that they can't come in the living room because I'm beating my dick, then they can go fuck themselves."
Oh, man.
That'll be more dialogue that we'll put in Safe Sex Grandpa starring my dad.
Yeah, Safe Sex Grandpa.
So anyway, I guess that's it. Let's fucking...
Yeah.
fucking wrap up this one.
Yeah, let's wrap this one up. This is another one in the bag.
If you made it all the way through this and you're not horribly offended, good for you. If you are horribly offended,
good for you.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you're a good person. Go kill some guy because he killed a dog.
Or, you know, laugh at handicapped people because they have Muppet faces.
It just feels good. Do you remember? No, I guess this is my friend. My friend Matt said this, that he had this story from when he was in elementary school about. You know, again, like even when we were kids in the 80s, you still, obviously, it wasn't politically correct, even though we didn't use that term, to, you know, you had to be nice to the...
You were disparaging other people.
Yeah, and, you know, like, they would have, like, mentally handicapped kids in school, and, you know, you just, you get along with them, it's cool, it's mostly cool. Unless it isn't cool, because retard strength is a thing. And this kid literally, like, waited in a branch and leaped out of the tree to fight Matt. And Matt was like... I fought back with everything I had. I was fighting for my life. Like, what am I supposed to do? Man, that actually... Oh, if you want me to bring up a creepy-ass story, I haven't thought about this in fucking years. I have an uncle who got murdered by a retarded guy.
Are you fucking serious?
True story. So, my mom's side of the family is the big side with, like, tons and tons of aunts and uncles and cousins. But I know them all. I'm, like, pretty familiar with all of them.
So this one was expendable.
No, well, it wasn't that side of the family.
Oh.
It was my dad's side, where there's one uncle, one aunt, and a few little cousins. They all live in Quebec. I hardly ever see them. So this was my aunt's first husband. So he's not really related to me. He was just, you know, the husband. And this happened when I was, like, 12 or something. This dude in Quebec, it was this, like... this house for, like, you know, mentally retarded type people or whatever, and I don't remember all the details because I was just a kid, but yeah, this dude murdered my uncle, and for, I don't know, like 8 or 10 years was in, like, this sort of, I don't know, prison for retards, whatever situation. It was pretty low level security, and now he's just out. He's just lives with his sister.
Were the bears made of Lego?
But it's just, like, so just bizarre, because that is one of those things where I'm just like, did we... I don't know, why didn't we kill that guy? I never thought of myself as, like, a death penalty dude, but it's like, alright, so you got some weird, semi-retarded guy who I guess is okay now, but he murdered a man. Do you just get one? Is that okay somehow? I don't know.
At the very least, they should have taken away his Play-Doh.
Yeah. But I do just feel like it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, like... maybe I wouldn't kill the guy with my bare hands, but if it was my choice to, like, should we lethal inject this guy? Yeah, I'd sign the papers. Do it, man. What the fuck?
But we don't have that in Canada.
So this is, we don't, but this is totally devolved now from, first we're just making fun of retarded people. Now I'm like, I would murder them. I don't care at all. It really can't get worse than this. So, keithcourage.com is where you can find episodes of this podcast. We're on iTunes, you know.
Prison Wallets Podcast on iTunes. We are also on Twitter and Instagram. Instagram, we are prison_wallets_pod. Twitter, we are
Podcast Prison.
Podcast Prison. You can find me as well on Twitter and Instagram at BoraHero77. If you want to figure out how to spell that, then just go to an earlier episode because I'm really lazy.
Yeah, and I'm Keith McNally on Twitter, and yeah, we're all around on the internet. I mean, at this point, this is like our 10th episode. We're probably famous by now. You probably know who we are.
Yeah, maybe.
Chances are.
Anyway, okay, so this was our episode on our VHS episode. We might make another one, we might not. We don't fucking know yet. But
it didn't bring out the best in us, but I still liked it.
I think Michael Myers soured us for other things.
Yeah.
But anyway, that said, we're wrapping this shit up. We will see you in a month. We drop on the 15th of every month unless it's a special occasion. Fuck you all.